What are we hearing upstairs? Are they hearing this down here? Or, huh? Can we turn this up?
It's going to be you upstairs.
I want to hear this, please.
Smoke, does the impact of this win even more meaningful? The timing of it?
Oh, I mean, they're all good. It doesn't matter where you get them, but we could run close to those guys all day. We just got stuck back in traffic, so it's pretty ironic. The last one we got was in a Code 3 car, and I'm proud to do it again, but proud of Mobil 1 and Bass Pro and everybody. They just an awesome job.
You look at your legendary career, your 8th road course win, your final year. What does it mean to chalk up another one on your racing resume?
Especially at a place you're going to for your last time, that means a bunch, so it's special, trust me.
I remember your dad when you won the Brickyard for the first time in turn 2 in the suite. He kept waving you on. That's what he was doing every time he'd go by here. Walk us through that exciting last lap, and then Hamlin's comments through the window after.
I made mistakes the last 2 laps. I had a little bit too much rear brake for turn 7, and wheel hopped it 2 laps in a row. But you know, I felt the nudge when I got down there, and he knew where it was. I mean, he did the right thing doing it there, but if I could get to him, he knew it was coming, and he just told me he was proud of me. I mean, he knows what it means, and you know, we were teammates for a long time. We respect each other a lot.
His 49th career win, and Chris, when you look at the popularity of Martin Truex Jr.'s win at Charlotte, I think this trumps this from the reaction from the fans and the folks in the sport.
At age 45.
Okay, we're going to roll right into our post-race for today's Toyota Save Mart 350 here at Sonoma Raceway. And our race runner-up, and certainly you put on a heck of a show for us here today, was Denny Hamlin, driver of the number 11 FedEx Cares Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. Denny, I know you're very disappointed, but just talk about this race today and maybe those last few laps, if you would, please.
Yeah, we had a really good car. Obviously the best road course car I've had, and led some laps. Was very competitive. I had a bad restart, and the 78 got biased. I don't know if we got a bad one, but Tony got a real good one, or that outside line or the inside line got a good start. That allowed Martin to get around me, and I just burned up way too much of my tires trying to get back around him. And obviously that last run, my car was the worst it was all day. I just didn't have any forward drive, probably because I was burning them up trying to get to Tony and around Martin. But just like you heard Tony say, I thought with two or three to go, he pretty much had it, but he made a couple mistakes and allowed us to get pretty close. And then we just we both wheel hopped into 7, and I just let off my wheel hop a little bit so I could get to his rear bumper and get him out of the groove just a touch. It was perfectly executed, but I was going through the S's knowing that I needed to get the biggest gap that I could going in 7. When he was, I think, two back or so going in 7, and I didn't run a low enough line in turn 11. From wheel hopping in turn 7, I got the rears hot, wheel hopped it a little bit again, got out of line, and obviously gave him the inside line. And once I knew he had position and we had a wall on the other side of us, that I knew pretty good chance that we were going to go in the wall. So, I don't think he was going to leave it to chance a drag race at the coming off turn 11. So, we definitely had a car that could and should have won, but just, we're on the bad end of the deal.
Questions for Denny? We'll take a couple. Go ahead. Go, Bob Pockris.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. 2 questions. First, did you run turn 11 kind of knowing that if he could get to your bumper that he was going to turn you, and so you had to make sure there was separation? And second, can you tell us kind of what you told him when you leaned your head in the car?
Yeah, I knew I needed a big gap. I didn't know if he would, physically spin us out. I thought that there was a very good chance of it. because that's his opportunity to get in the chase ultimately. I mean, how many more chances is he going to have? I think that this is by far the best he's run all year, and he's in his final season, so his give a shit factor is probably very low, to be honest with you. So I think that we were in a tough spot going into the final corner no matter what, but I still didn't execute as good as what I should have.
Let's go over here to George, and then we'll finish with Jerry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just private stuff, really. I mean, I've known Tony for a really long time, so a little heart to heart.
Let's go, George.
George Winkler with NASCAR.com. You talked about he left the door open for you. What exactly did he do to leave the door open for you?
He wheel hopped two laps in a row into 7 and missed the corner quite a bit, and that allowed us to get in shouting distance. I mean, my biggest problem all day is I wasn't very good on the second half of the track. I thought my car was very good up until turn 7, and then down the hill in 11, we just were not very fast for whatever reason. And that's a problem I've had here for 11 years. So I just knew I was trying to gain all the time I could down that hill, knowing I needed a big gap, and I just heated up the tires too much going into the final corner. I'd blown them through them for the 2 laps before, spinning them. I wheel hopped twice before the final corner. And just, the car wouldn't take it. It wouldn't take the braking zone that I had before. So it's part of racing. I mean, it's fun road course racing, and we just, even though we were on the short end of it, it was fun to race.
Finish here with Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, Performance Racing Network, Kicking the Tires. On Thursday, you said, when you were a rookie, you had the chance to spin Tony and go for the win for your road course. Here, you got past him, and then on the last lap, any thoughts reminiscing on all of that now?
Yeah, thank you for the reminder. But, we were talking about it today in the hauler. My rookie season, Jeff Gordon, gave me the rookie chop with a few laps to go at Watkins Glen when I was running second. I backed off. Tony turned me and knocked me up the racetrack. And I remember the next corner, Jeff wheel hops, spins out. Tony goes on and wins the race. And I was thinking, that me and Tony, I owed him one on a road course, but I'm sure he wasn't thinking of that in his final season at a road course trying to get in the chase. So Tony's been ultra fair to me quite a bit. He's really treated me really well my entire career. So it's not like I gave him one by any means. I mean, he gave us an opportunity to move him. We did, and then we got it back. So it's it's just part of the deal.
Denny Hamlin, great performance here today, and continue best of luck the rest of the season.
Thanks.
Thank you, Denny. Beat that, please. You want water?
I'm good.
He doesn't want it. Okay, our third place finisher in today's race is Joey Logano, and he drives the number 22 Shell Pennzoil Ford for Team Penske. And Joey, certainly, exciting race out here at Sonoma today. Great atmosphere, great crowd, great competition. How did you think the 22 performed? And you had a good finish today.
Yeah, we had a hard-fought third-place finish today, which is no easy finish here at Sonoma at any point. But really proud of the effort that we've made here in Sonoma over the last, not just this race. We did make progress throughout the race, but in the last 3 years. I think a couple years ago we had a fast short-run car and we fell off harder than anybody. Last year we had a slow short-run car, but a good long-run car. This year we had a pretty decent car throughout the whole run and didn't really fall off really hard. So super proud of the effort that was been put into this racetrack here in Sonoma. This is a nice solid third place finish. I thought I could win the race there at the last lap when you're watching us two go into 7 and 11 and you're running third. You think you're in a pretty good spot to win this thing. Thinking that they're most likely going to crash each other, and it was a fun race to watch. Going into turn 11, I was 100% sure that Denny was not going to win, just by watching it. And we were, we were right there on the cusp of trying to get sneak one by, and it would have been a gift if we got it. But hey, take them any way you can. But overall, really cool for Tony Stewart. I said earlier, we're probably witnessing a historic moment right now in NASCAR. It was a really cool thing for Tony to be able to come back and get that win. Obviously, same place Kyle did it last year, which is kind of ironic after he was hurt. So I don't know what the deal is with Sonoma in that, but overall, really cool. Like I said, cool to see Tony get that win here when it's much needed. It still shows he's got what it takes if you give him the right stuff, and he's gonna push hard when he needs to. And I noticed it from lap 1. Started right next to him, and he was hammering right off the bat. And I said, "All right, that's so we got that Tony Stewart today. There's 2 different ones." So it was the aggressive one all day, and obviously we've seen that going into turn 11. So cool for him, and overall, like I said, proud of the effort we put into it today.
Take a question or two for Joey. If you have one, raise your hand. Joey Logano, questions. Right here, gentlemen, right here.
Hey, Joey. Phil Barber, Press Democrat. We've seen some races here where there was caution after caution, a lot of wrecks. Didn't really go that way today. What was that like? And is that just an overall better experience for you and drivers when that isn't going on?
In all honesty, I think it's because everyone's getting better. A lot of the crashes in the past have been because the cars are wheel hopping into the corner and they can't stop and they hit somebody. Most of the time, that's what it is. There's still plenty of contact, but everyone's gotten better at this road course racing. Not just drivers, but race teams, and getting their cars better and their brakes better and the setups better. Not that the cars have become more easy to drive. They're still very, very challenging to drive here, but it seems like we've all gotten better and know how to handle a lot of the situations on the racetrack, and we've all learned how to race a little bit better out here. And like I said, still plenty of contact and bumping and banging. My car's hit on each corner, but it definitely was a fun race, and it's always been a fun race here in Sonoma. A lot of tire wear strategies are all confusing is all get out, and it always ends up to be a cool race at the end.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, Performance Racing Network and Kicking the Tires. Joey, late in the race, Tony came over the radio and said, "Hey, I'm not pissed off at anyone at this point in the race." Can you say that sitting here? Is there anything happened to you in the race that was frustrating throughout?
I'm happy. I don't get mad at anyone. Are you kidding me? Glad to be here. No, I love everyone. I'm a lover.
Any additional questions for Joey Logano? If you have one, raise your hand. Right there in the back, we'll finish.
Hi, Elliot Stern, Santa Maria Times. I'm wondering about the tires. Is this road course different, chew them up more than like the ovals, tri-ovals?
In different ways, and each track's different. Some tracks, you think of repaves, we just came from Michigan, doesn't wear tires at all. But if you think of Martinsville or something like that, it's very similar. This racetrack, its surface is aged nicely, and I think the beautiful weather out here allows that. That there's a fair amount of tire wear that tires and pitch strategy really come into play a lot. And there wasn't that late race caution. There was one with 20-something to go, but if there was one with 10 to go, it would have been pretty interesting, or even with 5 to go, it would have been pretty interesting to see what would happen. So it's nice the track has the ability to do that. The tire falls off depending on what the track surface is. So not because it's a road course or compared to ovals, it's just because the track surface is it's wore in, and that's what we all love about it. That's what we all like about wore out surfaces.
Well, Joey, thank you very much, and good luck the rest of the season.
Sweet. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay. We have car owner Gene Haas with us, and he's a car owner over there with the number 14 Code 3 Associate Mobil 1 Chevrolet at Stewart-Haas Racing. And Gene, congratulations. I know you've had a lot of wins in your storied racing career, but this has to be one that ranks right up there with Tony Stewart, winning here at Sonoma. Talk about the thrill of this victory here today.
Well, I think when that last caution came out, I know that the pit strategy was to come in a few laps earlier, because there's always a a caution somewhere in the last 20 or 30 laps. So they were saying, well, I think he was running 22nd at the time, and it was like, well, we're not going to do anything back here. So the idea was,
Go ahead, it's on.
is it on?
Yeah, what's up?
Okay. No,
Not getting it.
I think this little thing came unplugged.
What did- Okay, let me see.
That's now it's on.
Get the pit crew.
Yeah, all right.
Is that better? Okay, yeah, it just unplugged. And this is falling apart. Okay. So, when I heard him discussing that strategy, it was kind of like, like Tony was saying, well, what do we got to lose here? And might as well go for it. So they said, okay, we'll pit this lap. And I think that was like with 25 laps to go. And so they came in, they got tires, and then immediately, I think within a lap, the caution came out. So that left Tony was going to be up front when everybody else came in to get their tires, and his tires only had like 2 laps on them. So that was those are the kind of strategies that you just can't make happen. You just have to be lucky, and so luck was on our side today, and that put Tony out front. So once the caution was over, I think we restarted with around 22 laps to go. 22 laps is a long time here at Sonoma. We know that, and the tires wear out after about 10 laps. You're off a second and a half on the laps, so anything can happen. Watching the restart, Tony got away. He was getting a little bit of a lead there, but right behind him was the 78 car, and behind him was the 11 and the 18, and so on and so forth. And you know that the cars in back are going to try to catch Tony. So what they end up doing is they end up overdriving a little bit, because that's what you have to do. So you wind up burning up your tires a little bit, and I think Tony knows that. So he's going to drive as hard as he can to do that. So a little bit of strategy there, I think, on Tony's part, to know he has to maintain that lead and also make the competitors behind him use up their tires trying to catch him. So if you watch him carefully, you can see how he goes into the turns, and it kind of gives him a little bit of room, and then moves out in front of him, and it basically makes them use up their tires, and that really worked well. Then he started to pull ahead. So with about 10 laps to go, I started thinking that now everybody's tires are dropping off. The drivers behind him, their tires are a little bit used up, so now he has a better chance of pulling ahead. But like anything else, his tires were like 3 laps older. So here we come. We're getting down to the last 5 laps or so, and then they start to catch him. So now all of a sudden, the worry goes to how much better are their tires than Tony's tires. And I think, and as you saw the race unwind, Tony basically, he was running out of tires. Denny Hamlin was a little bit better. Martin Truex had burned up his tires. And I think, obviously Denny Hamlin and Tony Stewart are great drivers. They drove it hard in the last few turns, and Denny Hamlin came out ahead, but in a true Tony Stewart fashion, you just know when he came into turn 11, he wasn't going to use his brakes. Whatever was in front of him was going to either get punted off the track or run over or whatever. That was going to be his bumper stop. And but actually, when you watched it, he did a great, masterful job. He slid around, he got on the inside. I think Denny overdrove it, a little bit of a mistake. And the result was that Tony won the race, which I think is an incredibly exciting race. And I think everybody at Stewart-Haas Racing is very proud of him. And we have to thank that winning strategy of bringing Tony in with like 25 laps to go. So that was probably the key today.
Thank you, Gene. And let's hear from our winning crew chief, and that's Mike Bugarewicz. And congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
On this win today. And maybe just talk about, Gene alluded to, to win a race like this, sometimes you have to make some decisions, some gut decisions. And talk about your decision there, as Gene mentioned, to come in and pit a little earlier than everybody else. And then as the laps were going, what was racing through your mind as before the final lap there?
Yeah, I mean, early in the race, we were running fairly well and basically pitting according to the strategy we laid out the night before. And then we kind of lost some track position there on pit road and and it's tough to pass. People get strung out, and it makes it difficult. So as we were running there, noticing we're not passing people, we were still going to be a lap short on fuel unless we saved, which we had that in our plan. But at the end of the day, we weren't going to have an opportunity to win just doing what everybody else did. So we had to take a chance here and pit early in hopes that we would get a caution. And we heard NASCAR talking about the debris a little bit. So at that point, it's about winning this year. Especially for us in the situation we're in. So we had to take a chance, and it could have worked out, not in favor of us, and we could have lost points today. But instead, it worked out, and I'm thankful for that.
We'll take questions now for either Gene or Mike. If you have one, raise your hand. We'll start right here with Lee. Then we'll go to Bob, and then the gentleman there, and then to Isabel.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. First of all, for Buggo, did you have an opportunity to ask him if he's having fun now? Because it's, it has not been a lot of fun for Tony the last couple of years. And if both of you can kind of address that, how do you make it fun for him for the remaining time that he has left? Because clearly it's not as fun as it once was for Stewart.
I did not remember to ask him that. I just assumed by the look on his face that he was enjoying it. But one thing I will say, no matter what, every week, it's the last thing I say to him before I leave the car, and he actually reminded me of that today. He said, if I get angry and start yelling at you today, just remind me to have fun. I said, yeah, I know how that'll work out for me. But no, we always talk about that. What's most important, for all of us is just enjoy it, take it in. You have to do that.
Well, racing's a tough sport. 39 of the competitors go home losers, and we're on that side most of the time. So we all know what it's like to okay, you just kind of hang your heads, you pack up your equipment, and you head home, and that's I think every racer realizes that's just part of the sport, and most of us, that's what we do every weekend, is we go home losers. And that once in a blue moon, when you do win a race, it's phenomenal. Like, I can't remember the last time we won here, but it just happens so seldom. And when it does happen, it's very addictive. It makes you feel renewed. And I know from Tony's standpoint, I'm sure this is a great motivator. Tony knows that when he gets out in front, that he has the ability to compete with anybody. He's one of the greatest racers of NASCAR of all time. He's smooth. He doesn't make mistakes. He's fast. And you haven't seen that in a few years, and I'm sure that grates on him. But this is just a vindication that he has a natural talent, and that talent is something that it's still there. You can see it, and I think he feels great, and I hope this day lasts for the rest of the year.
Let's go over here to Bob, and then we'll go to the gentleman there, to Isabel, and then we'll go upstairs.
For Gene, what does it mean now that Stewart pretty much has a chance to win the title in his final season? And no matter what happens after today, what do you think this win means for his final season?
This is a big win. I guess I compare it to Jeff Gordon when he won a race and got into the chase. I think it's great for the sport. It's great for the fans. It brings excitement to the sport. I can't think of any negatives whatsoever. And last year we lost this championship by half a second, and that was a very, very difficult pill to swallow. And I think if we could have three cars in the chase now, that would be phenomenal. And we will do everything we can to correct the errors of last year.
Go ahead, sir.
About the timing of the pit stop, Bill Sussif with Napa Valley Register. Did you know there was already debris? Did you figure out that they were going to call the caution, or was it just by luck that it happened when it did?
We heard them talking about it, but we didn't know for sure if they'd throw it or not. Kind of just assumed with a rag laying on the track earlier and they threw a caution, I figured, well, if there's anything similar to a rag or larger, they're going to throw the caution again. So, again, it was just a chance that we took. Chance to get a win. Running 17th, finishing 17th wasn't really going to do us much good, so we had to try something.
Let's go over here to Isabel, and then we'll go upstairs. Go ahead.
Isabel Gonzalez, ESPN Albuquerque. How often does gambling pay off, and how sure were you that it was going to actually work out today?
Not sure at all. Again, I think almost every race that's won here basically on a strategy deal is just a lucky call by anybody. You know, if it's 10-lap shootout and everybody has tires, you know, then the best guy earns it. But when it comes down to something like happened today, you know, I just was fortunate.
Let's go upstairs. Go ahead for questions for Gene or Mike.
No questions.
Okay, we'll come back downstairs. We'll take the gentleman here. We'll go to Dominic and then the gentleman to the left.
Hey, Mike. Phil Barber, Santa Rosa Press, Democrat. Tony kind of has a reputation of a guy that's really hard to pass, especially in a crucial situation. Were you surprised at all when he got past at turn 7, and what do you think would run through his mind after that happened?
No, I mean, I actually was surprised how long he kept the gap to the 11 and the 78 car. I mean, they're very, very competitive cars today, and track position for us, I think, helped our car a little bit. And then, of course, having a 3-time champion that knew he had an opportunity today is a big thing. You know, at the end of the day, we only won because of his desire and his drive and his want. You know what I mean? And I truly believe that with these competitors and how good all the cars are and these top-tier drivers, I mean, that's what it is. It's a matter of who wants it more at the end of the day in most cases. So today, Tony wanted it more.
Go ahead, Dominic.
Dominic Ottago on the RacingExperts.com for Mike. Can you walk us through that last lap and kind of maybe tell us what Tony was telling you over the radio, or if you were verbal over the radio, especially over that last lap?
I stayed pretty quiet. You know, the spotter was keeping touch with him. He didn't say much either. You know, in those situations, I like to let him concentrate and let him do his thing. You know, he's got a lot going on, especially at a place like this, so we just let him focus.
Any additional questions for Gene or Mike? Jerry?
Jerry Jordan, Performance Racing Network, Kicking the Tires. When you did bring him in, I heard you all on the radio, you were talking about, don't tell him till he gets to 5. What was the strategy to that? Because you said like half a lap earlier that y'all were thinking about bringing him in, but what was the wait so long until he got right there to the end to make that decision?
Just because I didn't know how many other people were listening to NASCAR at the time to see if they were hearing that they were talking about debris or not, so I kind of didn't want to give anybody an extra couple seconds to think about pitting with us or anything. So I wanted to wait till we were going down the S's there to let them know that we needed to come.
Lee, we'll finish with Lee. Bob, you have something? Yeah. Absolutely. Go ahead.
Bugger, can you just talk about what this means to win your first Cup race as a crew chief? I mean, you know, to have that opportunity because, you know, you worked as a team engineer and such, and this was no small task, what you were asked to do, first working with a couple of, you know, other drivers until Tony could get back, and just how, you know, what this season, how it's unfolded and what it's meant to you to finally get to victory lane.
Yeah, I mean, in some senses, it really hasn't sunk in about being my first win, but, you know, I can't thank Gene, Tony, Greg Zipadelli, Brett Frood, all of them enough for the opportunity. You know, they believed in me. I've only worked at Stewart-Haas now this is my 3rd year, you know, 2 years with Kevin as his engineer, and every win's sweet, you know, whether I'm a race engineer or crew chief or whatever, it's all great, but yeah, that part of it hasn't sunk in yet that it was my first, but, you know, our goal from the beginning of the year was to get Tony back in victory lane, and I'm just so glad that we can get him there.
Finish up with Bob Pockris.
Bob Pockris, ESPN for Gene again. I mean, I don't know if you heard Tony's comments from Friday where he said, you know, I want to race things that make me happy again. How seriously should we take that, and how happy is he when you normally see him?
You know, I think Tony's a really well-balanced individual, and he doesn't seem to get, you know, too excited either one way or the other. You know, I'm sure if this could go on, if he could keep winning, he would want to keep racing. But you know, it's hard. It's a hard sport. You know, you have almost 40 races a year, and it takes a toll. I think he's looking to some new adventures. He told me he bought an airplane, a Cirrus airplane. He's going to must become a little bit of a pilot. So, you know, I think it opens doors to do other things, and Tony likes to do a lot of things, that's for sure. So I think we all know that, and whether it's you know, off-road racing and or, you know, sprint cup racing, he has a lot of hobbies to you know, occupy him. So I think that even though, you know, I certainly hate to see him go from NASCAR, you know, we have a great lineup for next year, and you know, I think Tony's going to be, you know, perfectly happy, you know, pursuing new adventures.
Well, Mike and Gene, congratulations on this big win, and good luck the rest of this season.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. All right. That was exciting. Yeah, all right. Come on. We'll chew him up and spit him out. Congratulations.
All right, we're joined in the Sonoma Raceway Media Center by race winner Tony Stewart, driver of the number 14 Code 3 Associate Mobil 1 Chevrolet. How you doing? All right, we will start by opening up to the media. Questions, please. We'll start with Holly Kane and then go to Jerry Jordan, then over to Phil. Go ahead, Holly.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Tony, that last lap, could you just talk us through that, what that was like for you?
Well, I'll go back a lap before because I think that set up the last lap, to be honest. When I went down in 7, the second to last lap, I wheel hopped it pretty big, and Denny got right to us there. And we held him off through the rest of the lap and the first half of the last lap, but he was really close to us off of 4, and enough that I knew I couldn't help but cheat the corner, and I gave him the whole outside. If he wanted to go around me on the outside, I was going to give him all the room he wanted, but I wasn't going to give him the inside. So, but I went down and wheel hopped it again, and he saw it from the lap before, and he knew to take advantage of that. So, I assume he did. He got us there. So, but that's when he went by us. I mean, that was probably the one thing I was most proud of, is I didn't panic and jump in the gas and spin the tires real hard trying to stay with him, and just tried to get off the corner like I had and tried to just stay with him through the corner there and get through 10, and thought maybe we could stay close enough that we could have a shot back at him. And when he went into 11, I was probably more surprised than anybody. I couldn't believe. I mean, as good as he was breaking into 11 all day, I couldn't believe he missed the corner. And they said he wheel hopped it, but I was shocked that the door was open like that. But you can't crack the door open with me on the last corner of the last lap and expect me to not take it. I was going to kick the door in or drive a bulldozer through it to keep it open. So, when you're in a scenario like that, I don't know if I'm going to get another scenario or opportunity to win a race the rest of the year. And we're going to try, but, knowing that could be the difference between making the chase or not making the chase, I wasn't going to be cordial on the exit of the corner, and I roughed him up pretty good there. And if it had been a street fight, he'd had 2 black eyes after that. So, I mean, I used him up pretty hard, but, probably one of the best parts, and one of the parts that I'll probably remember most of this race was before I got to victory lane and Denny landed in there, and the first thing he said is, I'm so damn proud of you. And, that meant the world to me. I mean, I told him right after that, I said, I had to do that. And he goes, I know. So, yeah. So, I mean, it just shows what kind of guys we're racing with, and the respect we all have for each other. It's, what's on the line, what's at stake, and especially at a place like this when it comes down to turn 11, I mean, that's where all the action is anyway. So, I couldn't believe how clean a race it was. I mean, it just, where's that race been for the last 8 years we've been coming here? I mean, it's, normally you get guys driving through each other and over each other and running each other off the road and everything, and we just didn't see a lot of that today. It made for even if we finished 16th or 17th where we were running before Mike made the call to come in on the pit stop, I mean, I had fun all day, and that was our goal. It was, we struggled all day on Friday, and all 4 of our cars kind of fought the same problem, and I still don't know what it is, but we still fought it. I mean, felt like the first 2 runs of the day we were respectable, and then it seemed like guys got better, and I couldn't match the pace anymore, and the harder I ran it, the more I made my problem worse. So, it was a matter of, I don't think Mike and I, either way, thought 17th was, that's just kind of where we were, and that's kind of where we were speed-wise, I think, at that time. And but it was like, we'd talked about 4 different scenarios before the race, and not knowing how much tires were going to fall off. And that's the thing, I've had some awesome crew chiefs, but that's something I'm really proud of at Mike. He will sit there the night before the race. He won't go out. He won't go with me to dirt races, and he won't go play. We took crew guys to Six Flags last night, and he stayed home and did homework. And we all waved out the window and said, "Bye, Dad," and then stopped and said, "Hey, you forgot to give us money for the amusement park." He pointed at me and said I was pointing at the wrong guy. But he stayed and did his homework. I mean, that's what I'm really proud of him at how he does that. I mean, he's so detail oriented on that, and all my crew chiefs have been, but they all have their own different style, and that's something about Mike that I really respect and appreciate. And I got in this morning, and best thing for me to do tonight for the race is forget about the race and just go have fun with my guys, and that's what I did. And then when we got here this morning, we talked about literally four different scenarios for how we could run the race, and we kind of figured by lap 15 of the first stint that we would kind of have a direction on which one of those four avenues we were going to go, and we kind of in the middle of two of them, and then we got kind of shuffled back, and it seemed like when I could run my own pace and run the track the way I want to run it, I could run respectable. But then when restarts and we got kind of jumbled up in the middle there a couple times, and then you got to fight and you got to claw and scratch and everything else to get positions there. And I got fighting with Brad Keselowski and Newman, and that's two guys that'll make you earn everything you get. But I drove like an idiot because I told him on the radio. I told him I'm driving like an a-hole out here, and I was. I mean, I was over driving my car. I was trying to do everything I could to get as much position early in the run as I could, so I could try to run my pace and try to do the things to help save my tires. But I couldn't keep the pace doing it, and I wasn't going to leave anything on the table. So, like I said, I mean, Mike was the one that made that call, and then for the caution to come out on our outlap, I mean, that was a perfect scenario for us, and it gave us the opportunity. But I still didn't even feel like we had a shot then. I mean, I thought, well, we might be able to hang on to a top 10 out of this, and that was going to be pretty respectable, I thought. But the great thing was after the restart there, Denny was behind us right away, and the first couple laps we kind of had a nice little margin, and just kind of held it, and then Truex got racing him and got by him, and that gave us a little bit of ground back, or vice versa, whoever it was. But that gave me the chance to run the track the way I wanted, and that's where I make speed, if I can do it the way I like to do it and know to do it. And I was able to take care of it. When Denny got back ahead of Martin, the laps are winding down, and he's gaining ground in a hurry, and it's use everything you got. If I left anything on the table and ran second and felt like I left anything out there, I was going to be a miserable a-hole the rest of the ride home day too. So I would have got it on both ends. But I was vulnerable in 7. I mean, I needed to be able to adjust my brakes for 7 and then make a different adjustment on my brakes for turn 11. But it's to reach off the steering wheel and make an adjustment sometimes is a distraction, and I felt like I could manage it. And when I made that mistake, coming to the white, that's what set that whole last lap up. Did I get everything? I mean, I think I talked about
We are completing our meeting.
I think I talked about everything but what I had for breakfast this morning.
Well, that's what Jerry's going to ask you. Jerry, and
I'll
then...
just go now. I had pasta for breakfast. There we go. I covered everything.
We'll go to Jerry, Phil, and then over to Bob.
Jerry Jordan, Performance Racing Network, and Kicking the Tires. Okay, you went 3 wide. You didn't get pissed off at anybody in the racing. You just said the F word. Is this what fun is for you?
Which F word did I say?
You said fun. You said...
Man, I'm like, man, I almost made it through the whole day without getting fined. I will say this. I can't wait for Tuesday, because I told Mike Helton I've been waiting for this day for a long time to see how much you get fined for a fight. And he laughed at me. I said, well, look at it this way. I got a lot of scores to settle with people. I only got 6 months to do it. I just got to figure out if it's economically feasible to do it. So I'm waiting to see what. I'll be the one by 5 o'clock on Tuesday, reading every social media thing out there. But I'm going to go to Zaxby's and eat chicken all week just in support of John West. Hey, I'm all for it, man. I'm glad to see somebody had some emotion and actually did something with it. I'm going to live my life through him for this week. So at least I did last night. We all went to the amusement park, and we went to a restaurant, and they had it on the TV. And we all got up from the table and walked over toward the bar area, and we finally pressured everybody at the bar to turn one of the TVs on to where we could watch it. That made my whole day last night, was watching the truck race. So I was ecstatic. So see one of our buddies, Christopher Bell, win, and I was checking on my buddy Rico and had no idea John West Townley was going to make my top 5 hero list of all time. So
So I'm following him on social media now.
All right, over to Phil.
Did I even answer your question? What was the question? I don't remember.
Was this fun?
Oh yeah, it was great. I sat there and I took the checker flag, and Booga's telling me how great everything was, and I'm looking in the mirror. I'm thinking I'm about to get destroyed by Denny. So when he waved on the way by, I'm like, okay, I can take a break. So yes, we're having fun now.
Phil.
Hey, Tony, over here to your right, Phil Barber, Santa Rosa Press Democrat. We've heard you here before talk about how much you hate blocking and get annoyed when drivers do that. You spent the last 22 laps in the lead. What was your approach during that time, and what's acceptable and what's not for the leader in that situation?
Well, especially when it came to Denny, lap 5, he blocked me. So I thought, well, okay, it's a little early, but you know, I'm in a little different scenario than the rest of these guys. I mean, this was my last chance, and I still don't like it. You know, the thing I was doing was when I came off the corner, I went to that line right away, and I made my intentions known that I was going to the inside on the entry of the corner. I gave him the outside, and you know, the ones you don't like is when you make a move and then a guy makes a move and tries to run you down even further. So, you know, I don't know. I'm confused myself on when it started being acceptable, and you know, I started seeing it on, you know, listening to sports car or watching sports car races on TV, and they're talking about defending their position, and I always thought defending your position was getting off the corner fast enough to not give the guy an opportunity to do something. But you know, I'm not a big fan of it, but I got 2 road course races left in my career, and if I got to play ball like they play ball to do it, I'm going to do it. So, you know, this, especially, you know, last 5 laps. I mean, this may be our only opportunity to get in the chase, you know, to get a win this year. So, you know, I believe in etiquette, and I believe in racing guys the way that I want to be raced, and that's not the way I like to race those guys, but they. You know, Denny knew what was at stake for us and what the opportunity for us was, and you know, most of those guys did. I thought it was a great race. I mean, like I said, we didn't see guys shoving each other off the racetrack. I mean, it was good racing all day. So, you know, I followed guys that blocked, but I didn't see anything that. Normally, by the time you leave here, you're so mad at everybody, and you just I go back and I sit in the transporter and take a shower in there and sit for a half hour because I don't want to see him at the helicopter pad. You know, because I'm so mad at a dozen guys, and I'm like, I can't whip them all at once. I can just take them one at a time, but I can't. There's a couple of them I might be able to take at the same time, but not a lot of them like that. So you can pick which ones they are. You're pretty savvy on that, but yeah, you know, it's not exactly the way you want to do it by any means, but it's still, I thought it was. I didn't see what was going on behind us, and didn't get to see any of that all day. But we didn't, you know. We had a debris caution was the first caution. We never get a debris caution here. Normally we have 5 cautions in the last 10, 15 laps. I mean, we had 1, and it was for a car that was stopped off the side. It wasn't even for a wreck. So I mean, I would say it was probably a pretty good race. I mean, a pretty clean race from that standpoint. Yeah, not one wreck. What was Boyer's deal? So, glad he got out of that then. It'd be really hard to listen to him next year. He's hard enough to hear on the radio as it is because he's ADD anyway. It's like, dude, just take a breath and slow down. It takes 5 people, and it's like every breath somebody picks a different part of the sentence to try to understand. And it's like a game show. It's like, take Clip Boyer for 600, please. So.
We'll go over to Bob Lee, and then Jim Utter.
I'm just trying to buy time. I'm so hot. I'm loving the air conditioning. It feels, my suit feels like it's about 45 degrees right now, and my body's loving it. So.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. Harvick said this maybe gives you a little bit of closure for 3 years of frustration, and your dad said that no matter kind of what happens the rest of the year, it's now a good year. So I'm kind of curious what you feel this win means for in your final season.
You know, somebody else asked because I was thinking more of my guys than me. You know, I'm excited for Mike to get his first win and proud that I could get him a win before the year, and you know, excited for this team. I mean, my guys have been through this whole disastrous roller coaster for the last 3 or 4 years and never backed down. They've never quit on me. And And there's days I've quit on myself, and they're the guys that send you text messages and call you when you get home, and they're like, hey, this isn't over. So I'm proud for them, and it meant more for me to get it for them than myself. But it's, you know, I guess the one thing that I did think about is, you know, in this day of social media where everybody's a cricket, a lot of people are crickets on social media. They sit there and chirp, 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 chirp until they got to be in front of you, and then they don't say a damn word. And listening to people say I'm old and washed up, and I know how old I am, and I know I haven't ran good for the last 3 years, and but I felt like, you know, if we got things right, that it was still there. And like I was telling Don Hawk after the race, I said we had to restart with 14 laps to go on an 11-turn track, and I missed 3 corners. I don't know how many corners that is. I mean, doing the math, but it's what, 160 corners, 150 some odd corners, and I screwed up 3 of them. And the rest of it, I felt like I was the Tony Stewart that has won here and led laps here in the past. So I don't feel like I have to prove anything to myself. I mean, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I'm still happy about my decision to make the change I'm making next year. But it, you know, after Jeff set the bar pretty high last year, you know, winning a race in a clutch to get to the last race at Homestead, and you know, just to be able to be in the chase if we can make it. I mean, we're still not out of the woods yet. We still got work to do, and Daytona next week can be, I mean, we're 9 out right now, and we could be 39 out by the time we leave Daytona. So there's a lot that can happen still, but you know, I'm proud of where we are. I mean, for 2 guys, for a brand new crew chief and driver combinations, didn't get a chance to work with each other till the 9th or 10th race. I feel like we're gaining ground here, and I'm proud of those guys. I'm really proud of what they're doing.
And you're happy racing a Sprint Cup car
today. Check with me. Most likely when Daytona starts on Friday, not so much. So we all know how I feel about restrictor plate racing, but you know.
All right, Bob, you want to hand the mic next to you? Oh, I'm sorry. It's with, yeah, go ahead. Go there and then to Lee.
Donna Beth Wellerman, Benicia Herald. You were talking earlier about, and I'm going to use the word grit, that you and Jeff Gordon have, and with you all exiting the racing. What do you see ahead for NASCAR racing and the young drivers coming up?
You've seen Ryan Blaney and Chase Elliott. There's 2 guys right there that are filling seats that got this under control. Brian France, I got in trouble, well, I started to say I got in trouble once with Brian France. That's a lie. I got in trouble a lot with Brian France. But I got in trouble enough one day that I got invited to fly down to Daytona Beach, Florida, and go to his office, where I sat in the lobby for 30 minutes waiting on him. And then I was only in there for 10 minutes, and then I got to drive back and fly home. So, but I remember him telling me, and I'm only saying this because it's the truth. I mean, he was right, and it was something that resonated. He's like, you know, you're not bigger than this sport, you know, and you're a star in the sport, but there were stars before you, and there's stars coming after you. So, you know, with Jeff and I leaving, there's Chase Elliott's going to win a championship, and you know, if the Wood brothers keep going the way they are, Ryan Blaney's going to win a lot of races too, and potentially win championships. So there's plenty of stock coming along that's got the opportunity to have fantastic finishes and make big names for themselves. And you know, 10 years down the road, Gordon and I will be like, the new people that are watching the sport will be like, who are these old guys? And I'm going to go, this is the guy that took me to the sand dunes and broke my back. So he'll probably do it again. So, but we'll have fun. Yeah, there's the sport's healthy. Trust me. There's plenty of good drivers. I mean, I'm meeting new drivers every day that are in the wings. They're running K&N cars, and you know, the hard part for us is, you know, you used to read about them in the paper because they were winning a late model race here or there. These are 16-year-old kids that just got out. They're not even out of high school. So it's hard to even know who they are, but, you know, every time they get here, I mean, I didn't know who William Byron was, and the kid wins a truck race, and I'm like, how did that happen? You know, they want another one. So there's plenty of talent that's coming along that's gonna, they won't miss us in about 10 years.
Go Lee, and then to Jim.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Hamlin said on Thursday that when you guys were in a similar situation at Watkins Glen, he was afraid to knock you out of the way because you would have kicked his ass afterwards. Did you?
He was right. See, if you do a good enough job and get that ingrained in their head, that is a powerful tool in a race. It's smart. That's strategy. Go ahead.
But you think there's been that fear factor that screw with me and...
No.
Okay.
No, and especially somebody like Denny. I mean, we were teammates, and when I was set in my head when I felt him nudge me in 7. I'm like, well done, because he didn't just knock me off the racetrack or anything. He saw what happened the lap before, and then when I got down there again, I got myself in that same position, and he took advantage of it. And he could have been a lot rougher with it. He could have knocked me off the track. He could have spun me, whatever, and won the race. And he went on, and I went on, and like I said, you don't see him make mistakes like that very often. But he made a mistake and gave me the opportunity. I'm not sure I could have got to him. I'm not sure he had enough of a gap that I'm not sure I could have got to him and roughed him up any other way. But when he missed the corner, it gave me a big opportunity to get there. The gap that I needed was available then to get the rest of the way. But no, I mean, we respect each other a lot. There's 90% of the guys in the field I have a ton of respect for, and there's 5-6% of them that I knocked them over the grandstands. If that's what it took to win a race, I wouldn't have cared. But Denny's not one of those guys. Denny's one I really respect. And in 2011 when we won the championship, the race at Martinsville that we won, I was racing him really hard to stay on the lead lap, and he cut me a break a couple times, and that was key. I mean, that helped. That was what helped us win the championship and give us the points that we needed. So I mean, we've got a lot of respect for each other, and I sat there as soon as they threw the checkered. I didn't slow down right away, because I'm like, the faster I go, the less of a running start he's going to have to plow into me. So, but he pulled up beside me and thumbs up, and I'm like, great, I don't want to have to fight today. So it was nice.
And you brought up 2011. You feel like you or your team is in a position where you could catch fire the way you did that magical season and go into the chase and just balls out to the end?
I like the way you put it. I'm going to be that way when I get home tonight. Nobody's going to know, because I'm going to be by myself in the house, which is great. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to go with the same approach we had before. I mean, I told him, I think we're gaining on it. I think it's a scenario where you crawl before you walk before you jog before you run before you sprint. It's phases that we're going at. And I felt like Michigan and Pocono, we got jogging, and we're getting closer to being where we need to be. I mean, we're not there yet, but we still got time to get there, and we've gained a bunch of ground in a short amount of time. And if we can keep making that ground and keep getting better, who knows? I mean, you know how I am. I mean, I sat there the whole media day in 11 and said, I'm wasting my time and all your time being here, because I'm not going to be a factor in this thing. And then we went out and won the first 2 races and won 5 of them. So I'm not that smart, obviously, so don't ask me. I don't know. We'll see. We got to get there first, though. I mean, Daytona's going to be a big hurdle. I mean, as much as you want to go win that thing, it's crisis management more than anything, I think, because I think if we can get through that, I feel like our performance is good enough to get us the rest of the way there. We got to take care of ourselves to get through there.
To Jim, and then the gentleman in the back row.
Jim Mutter, motorsport.com. Tony, when you were recovering and getting ready to come back, a lot of people, a lot of fans were wanted to convince you to put off your retirement for a year, and you were adamant that you had said this was it, and we're going to continue on with that. When you came back to the actual track for the first time, did you come with any expectations or any idea what might be possible this season? And did you even think that something like today would be possible?
You really don't know. I mean, that's the hard thing. I mean, I'm starting a season with a new crew chief that I hadn't worked with, and I think the best thing that happened was, going against doctor's orders. They wanted me staying home and going to the track and being on the pit box and having a radio on and listen to him communicate. I think it made it easier for me to learn him, but he didn't get a chance to learn me. So to know, I mean, the way we were hoping the season would start obviously was totally derailed, and you really don't know what to expect out of it. But it's a learning process with him, and like I say, I think he's doing a great job. I mean, he takes an approach I've never seen anybody else do, and I mean, he studies. I mean, I can't remember what race it was. We flew out together maybe to California or Phoenix or something, and he was watching the entire race and writing notes down off of the previous race there. So, I don't know that I really had any expectations. It's hard to know until you get out there and get a baseline. Once you get a baseline, then you can kind of say, well, this is what I expect for the year. But I said after Michigan, I'm like, we're starting to gain momentum here. And Pocono, we were gaining momentum. We got buried on a restart there, and I lost it. Plain and simple, I just lost it. But the car was pretty good. I mean, I felt like we gained ground there, and then we went and built off of that at Michigan and gained even more ground. So I feel like we're going the right direction. We just got to keep clawing at it.
Dominic Ottago on the RacingExperts.com. After today's win, is it possible to say where this ranks in comparison to the other Sprint Cup victories, if possible?
Definitely exciting for sure. I mean, it's I don't know, and Jim or somebody, you guys would probably have to help me out. I don't know that it's really came down to a last corner pass for us here on the wins that we had at this track, but I don't think it had. So, but it, especially in your last year, I mean, that means a lot. And this has always been one of my favorite tracks. But I've always told people this is one of those tracks that it's either you leave here happy or you leave here so mad you can't see straight. And normally the restarts and the chaos and the restarts make you mad. And we didn't have that today. I told him, he asked me before the restart, he goes, "You having fun?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm not even mad at anybody yet." And I said, "That's pretty amazing to be within 15 laps of the finish and I'm not mad at anybody." So I was least hopeful that was going to continue. I just didn't know that we were going to have a chance to win the race with it.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. I was in your pits for the final few laps, and when you won, it was a very emotional moment for a lot of people in the pits. This was, really tugged on some hearts. You seem to be very matter of fact and business about it somewhat right now, but I mean, how emotional is it for you to get this done?
Well, about 8 to go was the first time I thought, hey, we might actually have a shot to hold on to this. And I actually got a little bit emotional thinking about it while I was driving. But you stay so focused, and you had to. I mean, that was when they got racing each other, and there was a bit of a gap, and I had a little bit of a breather there to kind of think. But once Denny got closing in, I mean, it was back to business, and you didn't have time to think about all, wine and flowers and ponies and all that stuff. So just sit there and had to get back to business, but it was nice. I mean, after I got the flag at the flag stand, and I thought, well, I'll turn and come back down pit road backwards. And then I was like, you know what? It's my last time here. I'm going to go one more lap. And I went one more lap. And I didn't just drive the lap. I drove up there, and where the crowd was, I did burnouts and rev the motor onto the chip. I'm sure Hendrick's going to love that. But it just was fun to say, hey, thanks. This place has meant a lot to me. It's it's nice to, if I don't win another one, it's cool to win the last one here. If it doesn't happen again, it's cool. I'll be all right if this is the last place I win one. I'm going for more, just for the record. Don't think that I'll be set. I see pens going crazy. I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't say that. I didn't say I'm laying down. I'm just saying if that's the only one I get this year, then I'll be content. But I don't think I think you've known me long enough. You guys know that I don't lay down for anything. So all you got to do is just give me that little bit of hope, and I'll run with it.
Tony, thanks for coming in.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Keep this on, please. Can you keep this hot, sir, in the back? First place, 14. And second place, the 11 car have passed at-track inspection and will be going to the R&D Center for final inspection. Third place, the 22. Fourth place, the 78. Fifth place, 19. And the random 21 have all cleared at-track inspection and have been released.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Spectacular.
Glad you used that advice I gave you before the race.
Congratulations. Could I get a quick photo, please? Congratulations.
Congratulations and thank you for a wonderful.
Congratulations.
That was a
I may
riot.
not be able to come in and hassle you guys much more. So.
Oh, I know, but that was a hoot.
That was,
thank you.
that's
Last corner, your last race.